What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Shorter Sports Radio. I'm your host, Tyler Cates. Good afternoon to everyone who decided to stay on campus for fall break and is listening on the shorter cable system. And also, good afternoon to everyone who is tuning in on Facebook Live right now. It was a busy weekend. This weekend in sports, especially shorter sports. We're gonna cover the results from all the shorter fall sports this weekend: volleyball, football, men's and women's soccer, and then we're gonna also go in and cover the results from all the SEC games that happened this weekend, and also the results of the top 25 games that happened this weekend. Once again, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the volleyball segment. What's up, guys, and welcome back. Once again, thank you all for, if you're on campus, tuning in on the cable, and thank you again for tuning in on Facebook Live if you're tuning in there. So, this weekend in shorter volleyball, they had two games, both at home. Friday night against Mississippi College, and then Saturday against the University of West Alabama. Won the game Friday night 3-0. Lost the game Saturday to West Al 3-0. So I guess you can say both games were on opposite ends of the spectrum. Got a sweep in the first game and got swept in the second game. But overall they looked team starting to look better, starting to get more cohesive and play better. So really looking forward to seeing what they can do the rest of the year. They got a big conference game tomorrow night in Florence, Alabama against UNA. UNA is typically in every sport, but specifically like soccer or women's soccer and volleyball. They're typically top of the conference every year. So, big test for them tomorrow night. That game will be a 6 p.m. start. I believe that's 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. If you can't make the trip to Florence to catch the game, you can always go to GoShorterHawks.com and look for live stats or live video, and they will more than likely redirect you to UNA's website, and then you can watch the game from there or listen on the radio online. But after this weekend, volleyball conference standings are West Florida is in first right now, followed by UNA in second, West Al in third, Lee in fourth, UAH in fifth, Shorter in sixth, Valdosta State in seventh, Montevallo in eighth, Christian Brothers in 9th, Union 10th, Mississippi College 11th, Auburn Montgomery 12th, and West Georgia coming in at 13th. West Georgia is 0-5 so far this year. And also, for those of y'all who tuned in last year when I was talking on my baseball and softball show, we have some new teams to the conference this year, and those are Montevallo and Auburn Montgomery. They just joined this year. So, really looking forward to playing them in baseball this year. We haven't got a baseball schedule yet, so don't know if we're going to be traveling there or if they'll be coming here. I would assume we'd go to one and the other would come here. But, yeah, no surprise, West Florida's at the top of the conference right now. They usually have a really, really, really good volleyball team. If I'm not mistaken, they've hosted the conference tournament like the past 2 or 3 years. So, the game tomorrow night against North Al could shoot the Lady Hawks up in the standings. Really looking forward to seeing what they can do. This weekend they had some bright moments and some not so good moments, but overall, in my opinion, they had more bright moments. So, again, like I said, looking forward to seeing what they can do tomorrow night against a really good North Alabama team. Pulling for them. Going to be tuned in to the game online. Encourage everyone who's listening right now or watching on Facebook Live to tune into the game also. It should be a good game. Hoping they can pull it out. Looking forward to seeing what they can do the rest of the year. And their next two upcoming conference games are North Alabama tomorrow night, and then Lee on Saturday in Cleveland. That's a 1 p.m. Start time. So guys, if you can make it to a game. If not, be sure to tune in online if you had the chance. But that's it for the volleyball segment. We're going to take another quick break, and whenever we get back, we'll be discussing shorter football. What's up, guys? Welcome back. So this weekend, our shorter football team traveled down to Livingston, Alabama, to take on the University of West Alabama. Unfortunately, they didn't have a good weekend. Got beat 61-0. But as I said, West Al usually has a really good team every year. Also, just to backtrack a little bit to the volleyball segment that I missed. After this weekend's games, volleyball is now 9-5 overall, and they are 3-2 in conference. Yep, 3-2 in conference. The only losses that they've had in conference have came to West Al and to UAH. But back to football. Kind of took one on the chin this weekend to West Al. Getting beat 61-0. This coming weekend, they traveled to Bowling Springs, North Carolina, to take on Division I foe Gardner Webb. Gardner Webb this past weekend got beat by 2 to Wofford College, which is out of Spartanburg, North Carolina, or Spartanburg, South Carolina. My bad. But speaking of the Wofford Terriers taking on Gardner Webb, shout out to my boy Slayton Wild, who currently plays football at Wofford. I don't believe he traveled this past weekend to play them. But yeah, shout out to Slayton. And honestly, looking at the football schedule here, they have a really rough stretch of games here coming up. They travel to Gardner Webb. That's a 1:30 kickoff this coming Saturday. And then the next week, we host North Al. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff. And then the following week is homecoming, the 21st, which is also the same day as the Tennessee-Alabama football game. The next week, after we go to Gardner Webb and host North Al, the next week for homecoming, we play West Florida, which I believe their football team's really fairly new, but they had a good team last year. Then for the GSC TV game of the week, after we play West Florida, we play West Georgia in Carrollton. Then after that, we got Mississippi College, and then round out the year against Valdosta State at home. So really kind of a rough stretch of games coming up here for the shorter football team. But I know they're working hard, getting better every day. So looking forward and excited to seeing how they finish out the year. I believe that they'll pull a win out in one of these games. But that's it for the football segment. Again, for all football games, you can tune in to 99.5 The Jock. If you're here in Rome, that's the ESPN station. Or you can go online and should be able to live stream radio online. Or if they have video feed, be able to do video feed online. So, football at Gardner Webb this weekend, 1:30 kickoff from Bowling Springs, North Carolina. Be sure to tune in if you get the chance. And that's it for the football segment. Whenever we get back, we'll be discussing shorter men's and women's soccer. Thank you again for tuning in. What's up, guys? Welcome back. So this weekend, shorter women's soccer traveled to North Alabama on Friday night and then traveled to West Georgia on Sunday. Uh, Game against number 8 North Alabama Friday night. Shorter drop 3-1. Game against West Georgia yesterday they dropped 2-1. So overall close games. The two losses put Shorter's schedule or Shorter's record at 1-7 overall, and 0-6 in the conference. But the women's soccer team, like I said on Friday, I've caught a couple of their games. They're a pretty good team. Just they've had a few breaks, not go their way, balls bounce the wrong way for them. But they got some big games coming up here on the 6th. They'll take on University of West Florida here in Rome. That's a 5 p.m. kickoff time. Then on the 8th, they take on Valdosta State here in Rome at Ben Brady Field. That's a 2 p.m. kickoff. Then on the 13th, they travel to Montevallo. Then on the 15th, they travel to Auburn Montgomery. 18th, they host Spring Hill. 20th, they host West Owl. 22nd, they host UAH. And then the 26th, then on the 26th, they take on Lee in Cleveland. So, big conference games coming up here to round out the women's soccer schedule. West Florida should be a good game. I know they usually have a good team every year. Not sure about Valdosta State. Montevallo's new. Not sure about them. Auburn Montgomery's new. Not sure about them. Not sure about them. Spring Hill, I've heard, has a really good soccer team. Not really sure about West Owl. UAH, I know, usually has a pretty good team. And then Lee usually has a pretty good team. So, invite you all to come out and support the women's soccer team when they're here at home. Now on the men's side, the men took on Lee University at Lee Friday night. They lost that game 2-0. But from what I heard from talking to some of my friends who are men's soccer players, they said that it was a really good game, other than the fact that Lee scored 2 goals and we weren't able to find the back of the net any. But for the men coming up, they'll host West Florida October 6th, host Spring Hill October 8th, go to Montevallo on the 13th, to Auburn Montgomery on the 15th, host West Owl and host UAH 20th and 22nd, just like the women's team. And then to round out the year, they'll host University of Tampa on the 28th. I know our men's games against West Florida are typically pretty intense. Spring Hill, again, I heard they got a good soccer team in both men's and women's. Not sure about Montevallo, not sure about Auburn Montgomery, and not sure about West Owl or UAH in men's soccer either. But Tampa, not sure about them, but I would assume their soccer team would be pretty good, since every other sport that they have is pretty good. So here, rounding out the both men's and women's soccer schedule. Oh, also the men are now 3-7 overall and 2-3 in the conference. So here, rounding out the men's and women's soccer seasons. I hope that all of y'all can come out and support. And hope all y'all can come out and support, or catch it online if you're not able to make it to a game. Busy weekend this past weekend in college football. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be discussing what went on in the SEC and also what went on in the top 25. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in a bit. What's up, guys? Welcome back. So, as I said before the break, busy weekend this weekend in the SEC. and also in the top 25. A few upsets, few games that should have been closer than what they ended up being. But starting off with the SEC, Arkansas beat New Mexico State this weekend. Arkansas is now 2-2 overall. Florida beat Vanderbilt. That game I said Friday was going to be close, and it was close most of the game. But Vanderbilt is now 3-2 overall and 1-1 or 0-2 in the SEC, and Florida is now 3-1 overall and 3-0 in the SEC. Big news coming out of that game is Florida's quarterback Luke Del Rio is having surgery today and will be out the rest of the year. So we'll have to see here in the coming weeks what happens with Florida. See if they can rebound from it. Their backup is don't remember his name, but their backup's also a pretty good quarterback. Tennessee and Georgia game. Georgia won 41-0. That game I really expected to be semi-close. But when you throw interceptions and you fumble the football and your defense leaves Nick Chubb and Sony Michel the Red Sea to run through, then you're not going to win a game. Georgia's now 5-0 overall, 2-0 in the SEC. Tennessee is 3-2 overall and 0-2 in the SEC. Kentucky and Eastern Michigan. Kentucky won that game by 4. I was really expecting Kentucky to win by a little bit more. But Kentucky's now 4-1 overall and 1-1 in the SEC. Eastern Michigan is 2-2 overall. Auburn, Mississippi State. Auburn beat Mississippi State. Watched some of that game. It was a pretty good game. But now Mississippi State is 3-2 overall and 1-2 in the SEC, and Auburn is 4-1 overall and 2-0 in the SEC. The big upset of the weekend, and called it upset because of the rankings, but I was kind of expecting the game to be I was kind of expecting the game to be close on Friday when I was talking about it. Is Troy beating LSU? Troy's now 4-1 overall, and LSU is now 4-1 overall, and so both teams are now. No, LSU is now 3-2 overall. My bad, but LSU should have won that game. I mean, playing a Sun Belt opponent, and Troy left Baton Rouge, Death Valley this weekend with a win, and also $950,000 richer. For those of y'all who hadn't heard, Troy's athletic department Twitter page since the world revolves around Twitter nowadays. Troy's athletic department Twitter page tweeted and tagged LSU in it and said, "Hey, at LSU football, thank you for inviting us to homecoming," with like 3 smiley emojis. So Troy got a big win, and Troy typically has a good team every year. I just wasn't expecting them to beat LSU. But moving on to more SEC games, Texas A&M beat South Carolina. A&M's now 4-1 overall and 2-0 in the SEC. South Carolina is 3-2 overall and 1-2 in the SEC. And Texas A&M's always a pretty decent team. I didn't get to watch the game, so I don't know what they look like. But watch out for them in the West. And then the blowout of the weekend, besides the Tennessee game, Alabama and Ole Miss. Alabama beat Ole Miss 66-3 in Bryant-Denny. So Ole Miss is now 2-2 overall, 0-1 in the conference, and Alabama is now 5-0 overall and 2-0 in the conference. But moving on to top 25 games. This weekend, kicking it off on Friday night, Miami beat Duke. Washington State beat USC. That game kind of surprised me. I was expecting USC to was kind of expecting USC to win it, but I guess when you play with fire, you're gonna get burned at some point. So USC gets their first loss of the year. Washington State moves on to 5-0. Wisconsin beat Northwestern. South Florida beat East Carolina. Florida beat Vanderbilt. Penn State beat Indiana. Georgia beat Tennessee. Louisville beat Murray State. I really wasn't giving Murray State much of a chance in that game. Notre Dame beat Miami, Ohio. Again, wasn't giving Miami, Ohio much of a chance in that game. Auburn beat Mississippi State. Troy beat LSU. Forgot to look up the score to it, but I think Ohio State beat Rutgers. Washington beat Oregon State. Oklahoma State beat Texas Tech. Alabama rolled all over Ole Miss. And then San Diego State beat Northern Illinois. And San Diego State, a little side note to that game, San Diego State's now 5-0. And if I'm not mistaken, that is their best conference start, or that's their best start overall since like 1923 or something like that. If somebody who's tuning in on Facebook Live wants to look that up and comment it and let me know, that would be greatly appreciated. But the ABC primetime game from Saturday night, Clemson and Virginia Tech. Clemson won it 5-0, or Clemson won it, so they're 5-0 now. Virginia Tech drops to 4-1. I was expecting Clemson to win that game, but I got to watch. I watched some of that game, but the thing that kind of surprised me was Clemson jumped out early, and Virginia Tech just kept fighting back and fighting back and fighting back, and they made it really close there for a second, but Clemson just ultimately pulled away at the end. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it: Clemson, Alabama national championship rematch, unless the committee sticks them where they're playing each other in the quarterfinal games. But that is it for the SEC and NCAA Top 25 segment. We're going to take a really, really short break, and whenever we get back, we will be doing the closing comments. So, see you in a bit. What's up, guys? We're back for the closing comments. It's closing time here on the Shorter Sports Radio Show. The question that I've got so far on Facebook Live is, do I think LSU is in worse shape than Tennessee? Honestly, I pull for both teams, so that's kind of a tricky and tough question for me. But overall, I'm going to say that no, LSU is not in worse shape than Tennessee. LSU lost to Troy, but as I said, Troy's had a really good football program and team down there, especially recently in the past few years. If I'm not mistaken, they've had some other upsets in the past few years. So no, I think LSU will be fine. I know the fans down there in Baton Rouge, especially my friend Austin Houghton, who I graduated with, who goes to school down there. I know they're they're like Yankees fans or Celtics fans, basically in professional sports. They want their team to just go out and dominate every year, and if not, then they're not doing their job right. So, LSU lost to Troy, but no, I don't think that they're in. But no, I don't think that they are in worse shape than Tennessee is. Tennessee, I just don't know what to say to Tennessee. Like, Tennessee has all the talent in the world. They just don't know how to put it together. I said Friday that if they didn't beat Georgia, then Butch Jones was probably gone. They didn't beat Georgia, so Butch Jones probably finish out the rest of the year. Then we'll find Tennessee will get a new coach. Kind of hoping it's Oregon's former coach, Chip Kelly, I believe is the one he is. Chip Kelly. Kind of hoping they get Chip Kelly. never know. I would honestly, or personally, I would like to see Tennessee go back to a pro style, line them up, knock them down, I formation type offense, kind of like what we ran with when Philip Fulmer was there. That's personally what I'd like to see. I know everybody's real big into the spread now, spread them out, and spread them out and run it and fast paced. But like I said, honestly, I hope that Tennessee will get a coach who will go to um, more of a pro style offense again. Um, but again, which that kind of contradicts what I said about I hope Chip Kelly's his replacement, because Chip Kelly's runs the spread no huddle offense again. Just got a question come in. Do I think will Tennessee win another game this year if Butch stays all year? Yes, Tennessee will win another game this year. Tennessee has don't remember who for homecoming, but it's not a very good team for homecoming. SEC wise, I don't know. We should beat Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt played Florida close, but we played Florida close. And then Vanderbilt ran their mouth against Alabama and got beat by Alabama. So I think that Tennessee will win a few more games this year. I don't have their schedule on hand, so I'm not sure. But we got a bye week this week, I know for sure. I think we'll beat South Carolina. I think we'll beat Vanderbilt. Alabama, not going to beat Alabama. Homecoming game, we'll win. Should win. Missouri, I think we'll beat Missouri. And then, so I'm expecting at least 4 more wins out of them, maybe more. But also, since I'm a big baseball fan, just got a notification that the Braves GM John Coppola has resigned, effective immediately as a result of a breach of MLB rules regarding international player market. So, don't know any further details. Just popped up on my phone on my MLB.com app. So, Braves GM John Coppola has resigned. Also, real quick before I get off the air, the Shorter SAC Committee, which is the Student Athletic Advisory Council or Committee, basically it's student athletes and it's a group of student athletes, and their goal is to put on events for like students or non-athletic students. I'm a member of it this year. We're going to be hosting a beach volleyball tournament coming up here in the next few weeks. I believe the week after homecoming, probably. But I'll let you know. I'll let you know a specific date Friday. But really really encouraging all the students here at Shorter to come out and participate in that tournament. Should be fun. It's going to be at the beach volleyball court that is down beside the dorms, between the dorms. Don't really know the name of those dorms. But if you go to school here, you should know where I'm talking about. But once again, yeah, really encouraging y'all to come out, participate in that. Any event that SAC puts on, all the money goes toward the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And if we can raise a certain amount of money through Make-A-Wish, then we will be able to actually grant a wish here on the Shorter campus. So, once again, guys, thank you all for taking time out of your Monday to tune in and listen to my show. Hope you enjoyed it. As I said, it's always on Facebook Live. It's going to be posted to my Facebook Live page. So, Shorter students, have a great fall break. Classes resume Wednesday. And everybody else who's tuning in, have a great rest of the day on Monday. And I will see you all on Friday. Thank you for tuning in.